What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm back with another episode looking at r/best of Redditor updates. This one is ridiculous. I mean, you can tell by the title and thumbnail, but this student's college says that if they miss class to testify at their assault trial, right, they will be dropped from the university. Absolutely insane title to this one. Let's get into the story. My college says that if I miss class to testify at my assault trial, they'll drop me from my classes. I, intersex agender, was SA'd while home over a break, not by another university student, and the trial of my attacker starts in 2 weeks. I am a university student about 5 hours driving distance from my hometown where the assault occurred, and I'll need to travel there to testify at the trial. I'd spoken to my advisor and all my professors, notifying them of the days I'd be out, and everyone was understanding, giving me take-home versions of any tests or work I'd be missing. Unfortunately, one of the days I'll likely need to be out coincides with midterms, so my professor was required to get approval from the academic dean and dean of the college to issue a take-home midterm. His request for the take-home midterm was denied, and when it came to the attention of these deans, they contacted all my professors and informed me that if I missed that many classes, it would be approximately 2 of each class, maybe 3 depending on some court scheduling, and 4 of another class, but it meets every day of the week. They'll drop me from my classes. Now, my professors were comfortable marking these as reported absences, which basically means there was a justification, like a doctor's note or other official documentation. I showed the deans that I was in fact being called to testify by the defense, so it wasn't really like I even had a choice. I figured that would be enough documentation. The dean said that personal non-medical conflicts could not be counted as reported absences and would be treated as unreported absences. So treated as the same thing as if I just slept through the class. They suggested I apply for a leave of absence for the semester because otherwise I'd be dropped from my classes at the 3rd absence and be on probation if dropped from 2 or more classes. That was school policy. This attack took enough from me already. I went to great lengths to be sure I didn't miss a day of school while recovering. I don't want this man to derail my life further by pushing back my graduation date. I spoke to the Title IX office, who promised me they could help, but it turns out their idea of helping was helping me plan my leave of absence. I do not want to take a leave of absence. All my professors were ready and willing to work with me, and I was, and am, entirely capable of keeping up with the work. Do I have any legal recourse here against the school? Thank you in advance. Wow, well, I have no idea. I'm not American, so let's jump straight into the comments. Somebody said, what would the leave of absence entail that you are against it? Would it force you to retake all your classes? OP said, I would have to withdraw from the university for a full semester, leaving me to either spend all summer in school, thus unable to work full time, or graduate late, and there's no guarantee I'd even get my full tuition back. Somebody else commented, have you been served a subpoena? Does your university consider a court order as a legitimate excuse for missing class? If no and yes, ask the attorney to subpoena you and show that as documentation. OP replied saying, yeah, I've been subpoenaed and I showed the documentation to the deans. Unfortunately, it isn't just missing the midterm, it's missing any classes at all. And I have class 5 days a week and the court doesn't run on weekends, which is why they were pushing for me to take a leave of absence. I'll keep trying to push the subpoena as proof I absolutely need to be there to get justice. And it isn't like it's a fun outing for me, like I'm trying to skip class for a law and order type experience. Thanks. Somebody else said, I'd get that in writing from the dean and go over his head, because there's no possible way the campus legal team would be at all happy to know what he was doing, and I doubt the rest of the university administration would like their campus to be the focus of news reports on colleges forbidding victims of crimes from testifying in court. Make an appointment with whoever is immediately above your dean, maybe the chancellor, depending on your university, and talk to them. That sounds like a very good set of ideas, by the way. OP said, thank you, I hadn't even considered the legal team because in my mind, they're there to protect the administration, / they are the administration. I'll look into that. Thank you. Somebody else commented, at most, you'd be out less than a week for a trial. This whole thing doesn't make sense. They won't allow you to reschedule to take a midterm the following week? OP said, once again, unfortunately, the issue isn't just the midterm. The midterm is what brought my situation to the administration's attention, though, but their main concern is with the absences. The minimum amount of time I'd need to be home for the trial would see me dropped from at least one class, likely more, which puts me on academic probation. So I'd then have to retake the courses over the summer or delay my graduation date to finish. I'm going to check into a proctored midterm at a college or library near my town to solve that issue and then try to address the absences through other means. This whole thing seems absolutely ridiculous. Let's get into the final comment before I give my thoughts. You should be able to get the court to work around your school schedule. Courts are often willing to consider a victim's legitimate life obligations. There may be a victim advocate you can speak to at the courthouse to help you navigate it. If not, your lawyer or the prosecutor can enter a request to change the date on your behalf. I hope it all works out for you. OP replied, thanks. Unfortunately, I do have classes 5 days a week and the court doesn't run on weekends, so no matter when I testify, it'll conflict. But I do have that in my back pocket if it would be easiest to schedule my testimony around my midterms instead of the other way around. So I'm keeping my options open with that one and discussing it with the prosecutor first thing tomorrow. I can't actually believe what I've just read there. Is this not like the most ridiculous thing of all time? I don't know if this is different or I've got sort of a different way of viewing this because I'm from London or I live in the UK. My university experience was not like this at all, where like if you missed a week or something, you were dropped from the course or like your place at the university was in danger. That just seems insane to me. But this, having the most legitimate excuse you could possibly have to not be in your classes, and then the deans say, no, you have to be in the class or again, like you're going to get dropped. That's insane. Like, what are they promoting here? They're saying they don't really care about your case. They're saying they don't care about your assault, pretty much. That is what they're saying, right? It's absolutely insane. When I was at uni, like, I could not go to classes pretty comfortably. Nobody would really care. It was sort of my choice, I suppose. We did have registers and stuff for seminars and stuff like that, so you couldn't really miss too many of them. But I was ill for a couple of weeks in like my first year. Didn't really get a doctor's note. I just sort of like didn't go. Then they just emailed me and said, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm ill." And it was as simple as that. It was pretty chilled. I feel like when you go to uni or college or whatever, you're an adult. You make your own decisions. You're the one that's actually paid to be there. It's a bit strange. Well, I guess that's the same with school as well if you go to a private school. But you get what I'm saying. You've chosen to further your education by paying to go to these schools or taking a loan out. Surely you can just then do with that what you want. But getting back to it, assaults and saying no, you can't go to your trial, that should not and cannot legally be a thing. That's my takeaway from this. This dean is just on one. That cannot be like the policy. That's ridiculous, as the commenter said there. If that made it into national news and it was dean doesn't let student go to their assault trial, like, that would be the end of this uni, surely. Or at least the end of the dean. That cannot be legit. Something has to be done here, I'm sure of it. And something can be done. That's the main point. I don't think you should just, accept defeat. We'll get into the update now and see what did happen, but I'm not looking ahead. Surely something was done that was a good solution for you. Okay, so let's get into the update then. This was posted over 3 weeks later. Thanks to everyone's terrific advice, I got my university's ombudsman involved and also reached out to a local survivors group, similar to Rain, who connected me to a wonderful attorney who facilitated between me and the legal services team at my school. Within a day of meeting with the school's general counsel, my attorney and I were invited to meet with the deans who had made that initial decision. One of my professors also apparently saw my legal advice post and put 2 and 2 together. This was originally posted in r/legal advice. My professors were not previously aware of the full extent of what was going on, by the way. Now, that professor and my other professors submitted a letter on my behalf protesting the administration's decision, copying the board, ombudsman, legal counsel, and high-level members of the administration, which was so incredibly touching. I'm still overwhelmed and trying to properly thank them. Between my professor's incredible gesture and my showing up with an attorney raising flags, at the meeting I was given carte blanche to work out the details of my absences between myself and my professors. I'll take them at school, just early. and 2 were able to give me modified assignments that could be done at home, but still exemplified the same knowledge and skill sets. The Ombudsman and the legal counsel assured me they are looking into the policy that caused this ordeal in the first place. The Ombudsman is making sure the policy is being correctly and reasonably enforced, for example, not used to coerce students into violating a subpoena, and the legal counsel is advising the administration on new guidelines for the policy so that nobody else has to experience this going forward. Thank you everyone here who took time to give me such helpful advice. I appreciate all of you. Okay, well, I suppose that was a good solution in the end, but I don't actually really care. Well, no, that's not true. I do care. I just think it's ridiculous that it got to that point, like, at all. How can the policy be such that if you have an assault trial and you can't rearrange it because you have classes on all 5 days of the week or the week, the working week, and then you have to go to it, you'll then drop from your classes? That's insane. So, right, I suffer a terrible thing happened to me. On top of that, and by the way, I have to say as well, OP has said that they didn't miss classes when they were going through that in the first place. Like, that as well is ridiculous. Surely there should be some sort of compassionate leave or something where in the event that happens, you get time off. I don't know. It's like the worst policy ever. At least it's been fixed, but I don't really care. Like, the fact that this wasn't a thing in the first place is genuinely disgraceful, but what can you do? I'm sorry, OP, that you had to go through all of that. Shout out to your professors, though, for doing the right thing. But again, if any of them didn't do that, I'd be shocked. Like, yeah, it's heartwarming, but also I expect that from any decent human being. The dean is an absolute clown. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed that story. Let me know your thoughts on this one down below. Do you think, like, yeah, it was a great resolution, or do you think it's a disgrace, like me, that this was even allowed to happen in the first place? Interested to hear your thoughts as always, and I will catch you on the next one.